So I work at Amazon. I'm actually part of the Ops Tech IT team, which is just like operations IT. Aside from that, I just pretty much game. I'm at home with my fiance and four cats, and taking care of our newborn son.
We are here today for the Corporate Esports Association Overwatch 2020 Spring Playoffs. It is going to be a spectacular day. I'm through most of it, only does get one as the Blizzard comes out on the backside. T also going to find the Deadeye onto Specs on the high ground. Google has to press on the pedal to try and touch this point, and they're not! Oh, it comes up short. Amazon Fire Force will be able to take Volskaya Industries.
CEA to me is like an organization that pulls together a lot of these like top companies around the world. I think it's like a great team building function, and then also it's for a great cause. It's for charity.
And since two members showed up in the top lane, they're immediately going to go for the dive in the mid lane with the damage on the Pandora. They're going to be able to pick up the kill twice over for Apocalypse. Everyone else is going to be running for the hills. Nobody wants to be able to join in this fight. With the minions there, the Baron's still on everybody. This is going to be the grand finals for Team Amazon Stock Dip. They've got the money, $5,000 for St. Jude's Children's Research Hospital. They have secured it for themselves with a 3-0 victory.
Yeah, so like losing to Adobe was like pretty heartbreaking. I got like the second place trophy in the mail. I'll see it like every day, and like it's like a reminder, like you have to do better. You always have to like somebody out there is better than you. Like you should always try to be the best. But like we're definitely gonna come back way stronger, way better. We don't want to drop another game during the season. We definitely don't want to lose in grand finals.
Adobe Illustrators taking this next map.
Hello, everyone. Welcome. Good afternoon, good morning, good evening, good night, whatever the case may be for you are. Happy day that the vote has been called. Whatever the case may be, it is now time for the Corporate Esports Association's week number 8. Now, of course, the Corporate Esports Association, it's an organization that goes and really as a spiritual successor to the After Hours Gaming League, to that massive organization that happened. It kind of operates off of two different ideas. Well, not two different ideas, but two parts of this one idea of providing people that are maybe not at the highest level, people that work a day job, people that are in colleges, we'll find out a little bit later, a competitive opportunity, a chance to go and play the game, their game of choice at a decently high level, find community, find competition, do all that. And in doing so, contribute to charity as well. Because while there are winners and losers in this tournament, there will be an overall grand champion in about a month and a half from now, I think is when the grand finals are. I think it may be a little bit longer. While they get a trophy, or I believe it's actually more of a necklace, the grand prize, of course, is being able to donate a significant amount of money to their charity of choice. Now, each team, they have chosen a charity. We'll talk to them about that a little bit more after this best of 5 is done. But we're just about ready to get in here. Our game number 1 will be cast from replay. After that, we will go from live just due to some scheduling concerns. But before we do that, we should probably talk about the teams that are playing today. We have the Shopify Dropshippers versus the Facebook Zuckerzerg. Now, Shopify, they hold in their ranks one of the best, if not the best, player in the After Hours Gaming League, in the Corporate Esports Association's history, in the player named Zero. He has by far the highest MMR of anyone playing. And, he definitely, I don't think he's lost very much at all. He certainly has not lost this season. But as we have learned in the last several weeks, having one Dynamite player does not a series make. We've seen the team with Vindicta fall short because, well, Vindicta won. His team was not able to rally around him. We've seen Zero already. We've seen Shopify already lose this season because Zero won, the rest of the team lost, etc., etc. We're seeing a lot of these upsets. We're sure you have the one ringer, but this is a best of 5. It's not all kill. You do need to be able to do more than that. And the exciting thing about this matchup is Front Stab. By Zero Zone Admission, Front Stab is playing for Facebook, of course. By Zero Zone Admission is one of the few players that can perhaps rival our player Zero for his ability, actually give him a decent matchup in a best of one. So as we sit here, we're going to be really looking forward to that. Very excited for that as we get ready to go on in here. We do have guaranteed once, and then there's, of course, the chance if this goes to ace match, we will get that matchup again. But without further ado, because we do have game number 1 already loaded in, we should probably get in there so we can get into our live matches ASAP. So without further ado, game 1 of Facebook Zuckerzergs versus Shopify Dropshippers. It will be on Romanticide, and we'll get into there right now. Okay, there we go, and here we are. Let's get rid of that. There we go. Spawning in the upper left. In the blue, representing. Yeah. In the pink, it's TSO. And his opponent in the upper right, in the bottom right, in the orange, representing the Facebook Zuckerzergs. He's the Protoss player. He's Sour Spinach. I believe I need to change a VLC setting that I had, and unfortunately I just reformatted my computer. So while I have a bunch of things set up, I'm just finding the small things that I set up once and forgot about. And so it goes. So we're just not going to have player intro music until I get that fixed. Unfortunate, but that is the case. And this is actually rather interesting here, even to start. So we do have a guest that is now on the way for Sour Spinach, but this is a double gate opener coming in here from our Protoss player. Generally, you would see gate into Cyber. You see a gate expand, something like that, but looks like we're even going to see our Cyber Core before the Nexus goes down, which is, again, rather interesting. This is going to provide Sour Spinach with a little bit more of an avenue to get aggressive. And this is coupled with the fact that, well, with how fast this drone was sent out really early in the game, well, the natural's not taken, which of course means the third is what gets taken here. And what that means is until there is creep spread between the natural and the third, before there is speed done, it is incredibly easy for any adepts that come out to abuse this massive gap, especially on a map like this. The third and the natural are decently far away from each other, as we do see the two adepts on their way out here, and this is something that TSO will scout. And this is not the most uncommon thing to see on the ladder. So this is something that TSO will be aware of. He says, okay, your Nexus is just going down now. That is rather late. I see the two gates. I see the Cyber Core. And more importantly, I do see the 220 Cyber Core startup. So that is a little bit delayed warp gate start. And this could be, of course, two things. Theoretically, this could be a Stargate. Generally, so you don't see that starting until 230, though. But because this is two gates in the front, he did see the two adepts. So it's like, okay, that's where your gas was spent. That is what I have to. That's what I'm dealing with here in this game number one. I guess I got to build a couple extra lings, and building actually that's a lot of extra lings. Sitting here with 10 lings out, and generally you only get 8. 10 lings doesn't hurt though. Just really gonna make sure that nothing happens. But now the adepts, they're gonna get down to the main base. They will of course not complete because they are on creep, and Zerglings, even without speed, they are decently fast. But you've got to remember here, Sour Spinach, as late as the natural is, and that is an inefficiency, this is implicit damage that TSO has been able to, that his TSO has suffered here in the game as well. You don't want to buy 10 Zerglings if you have the opportunity not to. So the adepts, they are going to shade in. They're going to target 2 workers down immediately, and they should, yeah, they're going to get 3. And there we go. Behind this, of course, well, we've already seen adepts continue to be produced here. 2 more done, and we have resonating glaives on the way. A 3rd gate on the way. I would expect to see a 4th. Generally, you see 4 gate adepts. You don't see 3. But we have yet to see. Well, that's something we would expect to see sooner rather than later. Honestly would expect to see a Robo going down rather soon as well. You generally do see the Robo come down at roughly the same timing as the Twilight Council, just to make sure that you have that warp gate done ASAP. But this is interesting. So we have a couple sentries warped in. You almost never see sentries with a... I guess this has got to be... He's going to look to develop his deck a little bit more, I think. You almost never see sentries warped in as part of an adept push, right? Because, well, they don't help. Adepts are shading all over the place. And, okay, so he's going to go take a third. I guess... And yeah, this is at a fairly decent third timing with the sentries here as well. If this is a fake third, okay. Let's see, yeah, okay, so no, he actually is going to take a third. I was going to say, if this is a fake third, it is, well, it's a well hidden one. It is the third going down about 440. That makes sense, right? That is kind of your standard third timing. So I think what we're going to see here more than anything else is a variant of the stats build, where you go and you do take a third base at a decent timing. The stats build I'm thinking of is you generally get a Stargate here, but potato to potato. But with Resonating Gleams being done, there is the opportunity for Sour Spinach to move across the map with the just the force of Adepts that he has, put some pressure on. He's not trying to kill his opponent right here. This is not all in any way, shape, or form. Ooh, okay, so double Robo behind this. You know, as I think about this, I think this is something I've seen before. I can't remember who I saw do it, but this is a rather interesting play. It's a little middle of the road. It's not super greedy, but it's also not super defensive either. I mean, the third was taken not the fastest possible, or it's not super aggressive, but the third was not taken the fastest possible. But on the flip side, well, these Adepts, they're now going to find themselves shading in, but that is a lot of Roaches, that is a lot of Zerglings, and ironically, okay, actually, so some of the Adepts will complete, so they're just going to start targeting workers down. These Adepts in the main need to do the same. 5, 6, 7, 8 workers go down here. And, well, that's pretty nice. The Queens were pulled to deal with this, but 13 workers have gone down. Meanwhile, the Adepts, they're going to find them, they're going to shade on into the natural. More and more workers do go down here. And this is absolutely something that should not have happened. Because, well, TSO, he had the army to deal with it. He was sitting there up on army supply, roughly even on workers compared to his Protoss opponent. And as a result of that, well, you would expect him to take no damage to that whatsoever. But unfortunately for him, the Adepts went everywhere. And drone corpses went everywhere here as well. Sour Spinach now finds himself up 50 workers, but down 20 army supply. 20 army supply though, with 2 immortals done, with charge just about done here. Yeah, I don't like the chances for this attack. I mean, yeah, Roach speed is done, but there are force fields here. Charge is what, 20 seconds out, so the longer this dithers, the higher likelihood the charge will be done. I do, however, like the Spire that's coming out here, as the Spire will provide TSO the opportunity to dance around. There is no blink, there is no Stargate. There's actually no gas taken on the third as well. So what this means, of course, is well, these mutas, when they come out, they are going to be, they're just going to have free reign for the most part. Oh, and I apologize if if I'm sounding a little bit nasal or something. Coming down with a little bit of something. That's not COVID. I have been tested. It's fine. But just a little bit of annoyance. So I'm sorry if I don't sound as developed as I normally would. But actually, so I really like this. If you look at what TSO is doing here, he's maintaining pretty great vision of every mode of exit from the 3 bases that Sour Spinach has taken for himself. So they're TSO will know if Sour Spinach does leave. And now we have 6 mutas on the way. Enough gas for 2 more, so going up to a grand total of 9 mutas. Probably going to go up to something like 10. There we go. And these mutas, I mean, this is a charged lot immortal army. Powerful against ground units, absolutely. Does it do anything to air? Absolutely not. In fact, the mutas just going to be able to dive on top of this, pick off every single immortal, pick off the Warp Prism, and really force the Protoss into an incredibly all-in situation. This is one of those situations where the mutas are absolutely the right call. The tech switch here is an incredible move, and even as TSO has taken so much damage in this game, I'm not even sure it's going to matter all that much, as now for the first time these mutas will be scouted. They will, okay, just dive on top of that. Nope, they say not even worth it. We're just going to dive on top of the mineral line. we're going to make it so you just don't get to mine anymore, and this is going to trigger an all-in from Sour Spinach. Now, I just really would have liked to see TSO just jump on top of the Protoss army, because to be totally honest, the ground army of Zerg is not incredible. I mean, sure, by supply it is, but there we go. Now we have the mutas. If they're joining in on the fight. There we have the recall's going to happen, but I got you. Okay, mostly it will get out. With the chartlets here, everything else. 17 workers have gone down, 64 workers to 45, doubling the army supply of our Protoss player. And sure, we have some cannons now on the way, some shield batteries on the way, Archons on the way. But the combined might of mutas and roaches, everything else here, this is going to be an incredibly difficult fight for Sour Spinach to take, but he does need to take it properly. You don't take it in shield battery range while half-heartedly targeting the shield battery down. Where are our mutas? There we go. They're in the natural. 4 more workers do go down. That they're going to fly on into the main base. 1 Stalker's here. That Stalker will do nothing. And now okay, they're just going to go target down this forge as well. The forge will go down. Which means +2. It is a thing of the past. It will not happen here any whatsoever. Okay, yeah. I'll just target these. You're going to want to target these immortals now, but instead, yeah, there we go. Archons are going to go down. Always a worthwhile trade. And I don't know why these mutas are microing so desperately. They can just kind of sit on top of this army and do whatever they want. There's just not enough anti-air here whatsoever. They're going to choose to get out. Now TSO doubling the supply, doubling the army supply of his, over doubling the army supply of his opponent. We just have a bunch of just rolling in. They're going to go take this third out. Post haste, toot sweet, rather easy peasy. I'm sure there are other words that are not exactly necessary, but now we do have mutas. Once again, they're going to fly in. They're going to depower all of these. Okay, they don't depower the cannon. Interestingly enough, thought they would. 5 more workers do go down as the 4th base goes down as well. Now TSO in a dominant position in this game. He's got a little bit of a bank to him, but that is no big deal whatsoever. Honestly, I wouldn't even mind seeing committed to mutas even more so, but this smattering of mutas, these 10 mutas here, absolutely worthwhile. Doing God's work here. Because now we have the roaches, roaches, raptors, banelings. They're gonna get ready to roll on in, and yes, banelings are terrible against archons. Don't get me wrong, that is absolutely true. But at this point, I don't really think it matters. So many banelings tasteless. As now we have the banelings. They're running all the way in. Mutas getting on top of the last remaining Archons. Banelings getting on top of everything else. And with only 1 Archon left, there's nothing that shoots up. The Mutas, they're dominant in the sky. Roaches, they're dominant on the ground. And Sour Spinach, he's going to have to tap out. GG. That's going to put Facebook up 1-0 in this best of 3. Best of 5. There we go. Gonna be on. Oh, I should actually have the maps open, shouldn't I? Because of course, when we talk about things, wow, I should say there's a rather interesting aspect to this tournament format, in that there is a different map pool every week, which is cool in and of itself. But each map, so map 1, map 2, map 3, map 4, map 5, has 2 possible maps, and each team has the opportunity to swap one of these maps. So it looks like we have no map swaps as of yet. So it's going to be 2,000 atmospheres, which is from I believe the most recent Team Liquid from the most recent Team Liquid map contest. It's going to be called 2,000 atmospheres. It's rather interesting. It has a it looks like it's got a shorter rush distance, rather easy to take third. 4th may be a little bit more tricky, but really some interesting chokes here as we get ready for our TVT upcoming. I believe it's a TVT, but anyway, map 3. Well, I'm just gonna wait to see what happens. Anyway, So it appears that I was screwing this. Well, I don't know. Yes, TSO did win. Sour Spinach did not win. So Shopify takes the 1-0 lead, not Facebook. I've been casting with Steadfast too long. He has, in fact, infected me with the inability to talk about the teams properly. Because, yeah. Absolutely. And yeah, unfortunately, anyway, so we're waiting to get going here. Now we're just having some arguments about things. Waiting to figure out who. Well, yeah, I can talk. Wow. Just trying to figure out colors for consistency. And we're gonna get ready to go here rather soon. Okay, we have ready from both players. Front stab versus Zero. It's gonna be a TBT for the ages. The master versus the apprentice here. Zero, the winningest player in in CEA history in its rather short run, but by far the best player. Well, I don't know. Amazon has White Raw now, so I actually don't. I would love to see a White Raw Zero matchup. But of course, White Raw, I don't think he plays as much, so who knows? I'm not exactly sure how they match up at the moment. That being said, our players, they're loaded in to map number 2. It's going to be a new map for pretty much everyone watching, myself included. 2,000 atmospheres. And our players, they're loaded into game number 2. And here we are. Spawning in the upper right. In the red, representing the Shopify Dropshippers. Zero. And his opponent in the bottom left, in the blue trunks, representing the Facebook Zuckerzergs, down 1-0. He's Front Stab. Yeah, that is in fact the case. Generally, when I'm like, oh man, who are these playing for? I can just check the clan, but nope, that is not the case this time. But that's a-okay. We're gonna make it figure out. We're gonna deal with it. We're gonna figure it out. And at the very worst, if I really struggle, if I'm absolutely impossible to call the players by their teams properly, Steadfast is not here. I can blame it on him. So, if you all. Well, yeah. If you're really triggered by it, and I'm not trying to do this. I apologize when I get the teams messed up. But if I do make a mistake, we just tweet at Steadfast. We say, hey, dude, where you at? It's your job to make these mistakes. Generally, Beo's better than this. Can you fix that? As we do have our deviation in our builds, really from the start here. On the flip side, it's on Zero's side, he's opening with the gas first, double gas here, going into 1-1-1 behind this. He's going to look to be as aggressive as possible early on. And on the other side of the map, of course, well, this is just a standard Reaper expand coming from our blue player from Facebook. Front stab, doing what he can, and there is this whole through lay of styles, right? Where gas first is or I should say, Reaper expand is better than gas first. Is better than proxy barracks. Is better than Reaper expand. So actually, this is a great job here. Front stab is going to get right on top of this Reaper, and he's going to get the first shot of which means Reaper. Oh my! Front stab. He got a little bit too fancy on the micro, but it does not matter at the end of the day. It's one Reaper for one Reaper. That's okay. But still not all that great. Man, Front stab making a mistake there. He should have won that with flying colors. He got a little bit too excited, and he stutter stepped a little bit too much, which meant all the time he spent stutter stepping was time that Zero spent getting shots off. So unfortunately, even though Front Stab did get the first shot off there, that was absolutely a situation that, well, that Zero does win at the end of the day, and it very much a situation that Reaper or that Front Stab should have won. Now because of this, we do have SCVs being pulled. The Reaper will not. There's no world in which this Reaper really should go down, and SCVs have been pulled to defend. But now, of course, it should be fine. The Hellion is out, and now, okay, the Hellion is gonna be able to shoot. And man, these units from Zero, they are so low. Okay, there we go. Now the Reaper does go down, and behind this, well, Zero, he has a command center. Well, command center on the way, I should say, and I'm not convinced he has done enough in this early game to justify the implicit damage that he has taken. Well, when we talk about implicit damage here, the fact that he has not had a command center for that much longer, which means he's only been building one SCV as opposed to two for quite a while, one mule as opposed to two. I would show you income, but unfortunately this was not built with game heart. I'll notice in time. And now the Cyclone's going to show up, which means a Hellion for Hellion trade once again. But you got to remember that these are positive trades for Zero, or tempo positive trades for Zero here as well. Two Hellions can maybe deal with the Cyclone, can do some damage to a Cyclone and not have it be terrible. Hellion versus one Cyclone is just no contest. So while the trades are even, if we look at the losses here, just about even. Actually, Zero's lost one more. Yeah, he's lost one Hellion more. Well, the tempo, or the tech, I should say, of Zero is perhaps just a little bit better. Then we do have the Cyclone out. We're starting to get tanks out here ASAP. But really what we're looking at is the income here. Front Stab, again, he's got double mules to the single. Actually, yeah. So now we finally do have double mules. But with the 3 worker advantage here, that's not insignificant. When you look at a TVT, when you look at any mirror matchup, you say, okay, so both players have the ability to build the same stuff, whether it's Marines, whether it's Zerglings, whatever the case may be. What this means is that when you have the ability to build the same stuff as your opponent, yeah, interestingly enough, okay, there we go. There's the starboard. Are we going up to 5 racks? Oh, never mind. Okay, the barracks are just floating over. Anyway, when you look at this, when players have the opportunities to build the exact same thing, right? Whether it's a Marines, whether it's Zerglings, upgrades, minor upgrades, worker advantages, minor things make a massive difference, right? 1-1 Marines versus 0-0 Marines are just so much better. If you see that fight, it's not even close. Yeah, so, okay, this is 5 racks coming in here from Front Stab. He's looking to turn this CC first opening into something that is a lot more aggressive. Of course, the math is if, it's 8 racks on 3 command centers, 5 racks on 2 command centers, we're not going to see a 3rd command center for quite a while, as Front Stab really looks to leverage this macro lead into, well, its worker lead into a massive macro lead here. Stim's just about done. We do have our first medevacs out on the way. So it looks like he's positioning to take a 3rd, even. Interesting. He's posturing as if he's getting ready to take a 3rd because he knows his opponent really has not scouted him. But he's absolutely not doing that. We have 5 barracks producing. And well, as a result of that, Front Stab, he's going to have this massive army. Now, Zero, he's got a 3rd command center done. So he should only be on 3 barracks. There we go. 3 barracks to 5. 3 command centers versus 2. It looks like Front Stab very much Zero is very much focusing on sky control here, which is absolutely something that is useful, something that is valid. And we're just waiting to see Front Stab make the first use of his macro lead, of the fact that he just has he can build 4 more Marines a minute than his opponent, for the moment at least. So +1 will do just about done. Nice scan there. Really not going to see a whole lot, though, is +1. Well, it's going to see the lack of a command center, but, well, Zero's not really taking that command center yet either, and it did not really see far on the high ground. The Front Stab is doing a really good job of trying to sell the idea that he's getting ready to expand. But again, that could not be further from the case. +1 is just about done. Combat shields are done, and we just have this massive Terran army that's getting ready to move across the map and try to enforce its will on our red Terran player. And this is actually pretty cool too. We talk about mind games And again, Front Stab Zero, they play each other a decent bit. I talked about the student and the master, and from what I can tell, that is absolutely the case here as well. Front Stab used to play with Zero. Zero's been training him, something like that. But the mind games we have here are rather significant. As we do see this drop getting ready to go in, it is only 2 Marines. Right, this is a distraction. This is a force meant for distraction, not for killing. Now, of course, we do have, what is this? 5 tanks, a bunch of Marines, and not really getting all that aggressive. Third base now on the way, on location. And Front Stab, he's just kind of dithering here. But I guess really his what he has is really never going to be able to really find an advantage as long as Zero stays on 2 bases. What he's really hoping for is Zero to take that third base. Oh, nice drop there, but this will be, of course, be cleaned up. Unfortunately, it will delay things. But now, okay, yeah, not really enough damage to do all that much. We're gonna just have SCV gonna go finish up. But man, this third base has been done for forever for Zero. And we can see that in the SCV count, 74 to 55. But of course, this is it's 2 base versus 2 base functionally. I mean, yes. The natural is 45 out of 16, absolutely. But as long as this third base is not allowed to get up, well, Front Stab's in a pretty good situation. It is. Oh, this is massive. And Zero, he forgot +1 attack, so it is going to be a rather significant upgrade lead for really the majority of this game. As plus 2 attacks now on the way, +1 armor just about done. Front Stab does want to wait for that to complete before he moves out. And this is going to be a rather difficult position for him to break. I mean, this is what? 9 tanks to 5. Yeah, good luck breaking that line. As now we do have a drop on the right-hand side as well. Zero looking to be a little bit aggressive as he plays mostly defensively. And then we have that nice little double drop. It's going to go in. It's going to get cleaned up. But the goal here, of course, is to distract Zero for the moment, but it's not timed out perfectly. And now we do have the army of Front Stab. It's going in, but this is a lot of tanks. And sure, some of these tanks will be disabled, but that is still a 4-tank line. And the army of Front Stab is just evaporating here. Now they are able to finally get on top of these tanks, but that is after the disables are done. More Ravens are going to drop down here, and more Marines. They're gunning in, but it doesn't really matter. 96 supply to 151, and that was absolutely a failed attack from Front Stab. And this is just unfortunate. Front Stab, he missed his timing. I believe he attacked just before +1 armor was complete. Get that down back to regular size. And everything was not timed out properly. He had army to the right attacking before the army from the left. It was only a 2-sided attack. The Raven disables were slow. And because of this, well, now Front Stab, he's got the bigger army. And soon it's going to be the better army because +1 attack is just about ready to be done. And now it is time for... Okay, nice disable there on that, which means there's really no defensive line here whatsoever. Although, okay, there is 1 tank, and now we do have the army of Front Stab trying to attack him from every side. The tank, that 1 tank on 2 HP, 16 kills, will not go down. And now with the Liberators here, the slow siege has commenced. Liberators and tanks, well, they're backing each other up. That tank on the high ground will go down. Now we're going to see just a leapfrog of tanks, of Liberators here. And there's not a whole lot that Front Stab can do. He has half the army supply of his opponent. And there we have it. Third base is going to go down. Too sweet as well. 4 bases. Well, soon to be 4 bases. 4-0, 2 bases for Front Stab. Third base now being taken, but it's not really doesn't really help. And sure, there are better Marine upgrades. And we were talking about Marine upgrades as if they were some trump card. They absolutely are, but that's in an even fight. This is not an that armor shredder missile is just massive, and it really negates the upgrade advantage, to be totally honest. But anyway, now we do have the tanks all going in. The leapfrog effect, their leapfrog has commenced. We're not going to have +2 armor anytime soon, and now with the Liberators sieging in, there's just not a whole lot that Front Stab can do. He has been knocked into a chokehold here, and sure, it looks like we're going to have a drop for a last-ditch effort. It looks like Zero targeting his own tank down for the moment. But now we have bunch of Marines. They're going to stim on into the natural. +2 armor's done, +1, +2 attack only just now started, but honestly, that doesn't really matter all that much. Not at the end of the day. Front stab, he's in the main base on a hope, on a prayer, but unfortunately, Zero, he's not a religious man. This front stab, he's stuck here on one base. Sure, he's going to be able to drop that natural, but he's not going to be able to mine from it. This drop is going to do what it can to try to cut down reinforcements, but it's 121 army supply to 82, 76 workers to 15. And sure, this is going to be nice, right? It's going to be able to remove some of the rally, but now it's on a move command, and everything is dying. All right, now we do have the army of front step trying to break out a last-ditch effort, and I mean, the tanks aren't sieged up for the moment, so maybe this is the opportunity here. The tanks are going to get the first kill, first shots off, and front step, maybe there's something you can do, but there's just not enough on the ground here. Not enough Marines, and now the Liberator, it is dominant on top of all the tanks, but with the tanks going down, front step, he's going to have nothing, and GG, Zero. He's going to take us to his 2-0 lead. All right, so we're getting ready for our next game. Maps will be on, it will be Ecker Station or Lightshade. I don't know whether a swap has been used. I will let you know as soon as I found out about that. And we're going to have Incarnate versus Pluto. Will be Echo Station. So no map swaps have been used this week unless we're going to see it in map 4. Of course, map 5 is not eligible. It is the ace match regardless. And thank you very much, Suitman. Again, I apologize if I'm a little bit slow. Feeling just a little bit sick. We can blame my roommate for that. Luckily, it's not COVID. It's just enough to absolutely fuzz out my voice and make it so I can only breathe through my mouth. So wonderful, wonderful things, but it's worth it. We got some great Starcraft here, and that is absolutely... Oh, we have game art too. Thank you so much. Pluto for Facebook. Incarnate for Shopify. All right, our players, they are ready. And we're going to have potentially our last game of this series, which would be rather unfortunate. You always like to see the ace match. But that does not always happen. But yeah, it is that game really came down to the fact that while Front Stab had a great army advantage, he was sitting there at +20, +30 army supply for most of the game. Well, Zero just kind of identified this and turtled up hard. He used the opportunity of the third command centers to just heavily mule that natural to get up to about 75 workers. And yeah, he didn't have a third base. He was not mining from a third base all that long, but that was okay because, well, his opponent was not trying to get a third base either. He just got a massive tank lead, and you really can't push into tanks all that easily, especially on a map like that with how thin those chokes are around the third base. But that being said, our players, they are loaded in to map number... Oh. Well, our players are loaded in, but we have some lag, so we're going to wait just a minute. Zero has, unfortunately, lagged out. This is water. Water bottle. All right, looks like our players are low. Well, it looks like the lag is gone. We're going to get on into this. It's going to be match number 3. It's going to be the ace match. Let's get into it. Here we are spawning in the bottom right. In the blue, the hopes of his team on his shoulders, looking to take it to map number 4, potentially an ace match. In the blue, it's Pluto. And on the other side of the map, at match point, at series point here, in the red, representing the Shopify Dropshippers, it's Incarnate. And this is going to be a PvT, a matchup that some people would argue has been incredibly Protoss favored for the last bit. And while we're going to see one of those reasons as we're in here on this map number 3. Of course, we saw a 12 pylon, we saw second gas before Cyber, which means one thing and one thing only. It means we're going to see proxy void rays, or at the very least, a proxy Stargate incredibly early. And I see no reason why it's not going to be void rays. I highly doubt we're ever going to see an Oracle out of this. There is a Tempest plan. But so it goes. Now this is going to be SCV scouted. Incarnate, we'll see. Oh, you have double gas. I see that. Huh, interesting. See your cyber core. I see the lack of a natural. All of these things should be putting some rather fun alarm bells in his head, some warning klaxons to say, hey, be very afraid. So there we do have the Stargate going down. Reaper on the way here, and this Reaper, well, what it's going to look for, it's going to try to see if it can figure out where this proxy Stargate is, and unfortunately, it's not going to find it. It's looking at all the obvious positions, but this is very obviously oh, will it? Oh no, it won't. It's going to go the low ground, but not the high ground. It's going to look on all the obvious positions, but Pluto, he's done a great job of not putting it in one of the more obvious positions. And this is, of course, the one of the trade-offs you always get when looking at how when looking at proxies go, when looking at how metas evolve. As well, on the one hand, you can put it really close, but that's going to mean it's going to get most likely going to get scouted, especially as players learn how to deal with it more. But oh, we're not going to see shield batteries. Okay, now the Adept's going to go in. This is rather interesting. We do have a Void Ray. The Void Ray is done. It's not even going to show itself. And we're going to get is Pluto's taking it now. Oh, this is so cool. This is such a fake out. This is, yeah, man, I haven't seen this build before. I haven't seen this variant of it. But this is so cool. So we see no command center on the way. Adept just doing what it can to get up on the high ground to really mess with things. The bunker's going to go down. Adept will go down. This is just one Void Ray. This is not committed in the slightest. And yeah, sure, you commit just a little. Try to make sure that you don't die. But, I mean, you get a Stargate down, you get the early gas. But this is just one Void Ray. And now we have this 1-1-1 commitment here. Now okay, so the Tech Lab's going to go down as well. And Incarnate, he's terrified. He's just sitting so far back doing what he can to try to not die. But in doing so, I mean, he is just getting so far behind here. This is really cool. Now, granted, he has to be able to survive the follow-up. Because once Incarnate realizes that, yeah, this is not committed all that much, he's going to have Cyclones, he's going to have Vikings, he's going to have a lot of Marines, he's going to have all this stuff that he's committed to try to not die, and in doing so, well, that is going to be a rather significant force that he's going to be able to move out with. But this is actually the best possible outcome here. As this is charges on the way behind this, so any sort of tank push, any sort of, really, any early push, well, when you get charge, that just does a whole hell of a lot. And now the border is just going to sit home. Hellion's going to get in the main base. It's like, oh, you got me. This doesn't feel good at all. And now we have the 2 bunkers. They will be canceled. No more Cyclones. And I would, okay, you know what? What's our unit situation like? We have 1 Immortal, 1 Stalker, 1 Void Ray. That can probably deal with this. Nah, actually, know what I'm saying. No, I don't think it can. But anyway, I would love to see our Terran players start to move out on the map ASAP. Take advantage of this rather decent army advantage that he's built for himself. But as I say that, 6 gates going down. No gas is being mined. Only 1 gas in each of these. No gas on the natural. And Pluto, you don't see a you only saw Marjories against Zerg, and this is not exactly a Marjorie, but it is pretty close. As we have the one Void Ray, we have the one Immortal, 7 gates going down for a grand total of, what is that, 8 gates. And we're just gonna have a ton of charge slots rammed into the face of Incarnate here. They're just gonna have to hope to hold. And this is, I can't get over how cool this is. This is such a cool build. It's not one I've ever seen before, but I am absolutely here for it. As we're just gonna see tons of charge slots warped in, one Void Ray, one Immortal. And what do we have for defense? We really don't. There are no bunkers. There is no tank. There's just nothing. We will have to see more of a warp in. That is absolutely the case. This by itself is probably not going to be enough. Now the Chargers is going to run in on top of everything. Cyclone's going to go down immediately. And the thing is, well, this army's not getting micro, so now the Zealots, they're getting on top of everything, body blocking just about everything as well. Now the one trick, of course, is or Immortal is not doing a whole lot, but the charge slots, they've done enough. And now the Void Ray, it's on the high ground. And now with more and more charge slots going in, more and more Immortals going in here, the Natural will be forced to lift him. There's just nothing. There's just no army. Incarnate has nothing. He has been bamboozled. He has been boom-bazzled here. And now we're going to have, oh, that's going to be a great a great Widow Mine. But that's going to be a GG Pluto. He's going to take one back, and we have a series on our hands. That was such a cool build. That was such a cool build. Man, I know there's some complaints in chat about how, oh, Protoss can only win with deception, but man, that was a really cool build. And now we're going to go on to game number 4. Going to be Alephnot, the captain, of course, for Shopify against Frugs. And it's going to be on Beckett Industries, which means that this map swap was used here. So we don't get a Juggernaut, the Jackernaut, something like that, Juggernaut. You're supposed to, it's not pronounced Juggernaut, it's pronounced something that's not Juggernaut. I think it's like, effectively, apparently you can get away with just pronouncing it Juggernaut. But anyway. Yeah, if you stop proxy void rays with queens. Queens are very good against void rays. It's just proxy void ray is just not, because of how the timings work, it's just not very good. I mean, if it's unscouted, yeah, but that's true of most things. But anyway, the map swap has been used here. We're gonna have Beckett Industries, and I'm excited to see this. Absolutely. All right. Our players, they are ready here for this 4th, and I'm not going to say 4th and final game, because Facebook fighting back hard. As they're trying to see what they can to go to an ace match, so we can get that wonderful Front Stab 0 rematch that everyone has been so excited for. All right, our players, they're loaded in to this, well, potential last map of the day. The last map of this series, I should say, is, well, we do have Collegiate after this. But before that, we got to get through this series. The players, they're loaded in. Let's get into it. And here we are, spawning in the bottom left, in the red, 1 game away from taking the series for his team with the hopes of millions, or at least Shopify, on his shoulders. In the red, it's Alephnot. And his opponents in the blue, the Zerg player for Facebook, the Facebook Zuckerzergs, it matches. It's Frugs. And now we have a TVZ, which, by my opinion, and in many people's opinion, is perhaps the best matchup in all of StarCraft 2. I don't know what the opinion is on StarCraft 1 as much, but well, StarCraft 2, ZVT, Bio versus Muling Bane or Ling Bane, whatever. It's just the most dynamic match. So this makes me excited, and hopefully we're gonna see. Well, hopefully we're gonna go to an ace match. Excuse me. But regardless, I'm excited for this matchup. I'm excited to see what our players have in store because we have some rather standard openings from both of our players to start this game out. There we go. See a Reaper on the way just about. Now, we do see no SCV Scout here, so you're not going to have that really annoying SCV blocking the third base for forever situation that you do deal with on occasion. Are we? Okay, yeah, we do have game sounds. So we do have this, the 20 drone going out. Gonna do what it can, just trying to hide. And this is rather interesting. Frug's here, it looks like he wants to go take the vertical third, and that is not a situation you're really ever in, to be totally honest. It is so easy for the Terran to abuse this high-low ground. Is that a Reaper Cliff? Is that a massive Reaper Cliff? I'm actually really, I hope we get to see the Reaper go up there. It kind of looks like it is. But anyway, your situation that you're in here, it's not one you really ever want to deal with because it's so easy for a dropping here to go high ground, low ground, and really abuse you. Now with the third base, I mean, sure, there's this empty space, but it's a lot easier to defend. And actually, I guess I guess he took this base because of the choke here. This is an incredible. This siege tank is putting a siege tank here is just broken because it hits the hatch. A lot of the maps that have come through at this point, really they make an effort to make sure that tanks can't siege up and hit a hatchery from behind a doodad. Yep, that is that's the biggest Reaper Cliff I've ever seen. That's pretty cool. But anyway, now the Reaper's gonna get on into the main base. Say, okay, yeah, nothing out of the usual here. Nice catch from those Zerglings. Now, of course, the Reaper will eventually get out. Where's the Queen? Reaper gonna get a drone? The Reaper will, in fact, get a drone, but sacrifice his life. But that is absolutely a worthwhile trade here, as now we do have, well, speed's just about done, but a Roach Warren on the way as well. Frogs wants to get a little bit aggressive here at 29 workers, 6 more Lings on the way, and we're gonna get, and 5 Overlords. So this is gonna be rather committed Roach pressure here from our Blue Zerg player, and I believe this is a Frug's MO. I want to say I've seen him do this in the past. Now we have a couple Zerglings. They're gonna run on in. And, okay, so now there are Hellions, but there are only 2. That being said, Aleph not, he has scouted this. We have a tank on the way and a Banshee on the way, so this really shouldn't get a whole lot done. I'm sure it's going to force a little, and it may get some workers, but really not going to do a whole hell of a lot. But now, of course, we do have Roaches coming on in, but now there's a tank there. And sure, Ravagers can bust tanks. Zergling's going to do what they can to get on top of things, but this is just a massive choke. And with the Banshee here, sure, Zergling's going to get on top of that tank. Nice vial as well. Tank goes down, but now with the Banshee here, there's just, yeah, this is not going to get anything done. Nice try, and the build's generally okay, but I do not like Frogs continuing to commit to this. This is absolutely an all-in play. Hellion just going to sit here, maybe eventually take this hatchery out, but yeah. And I really like this, actually. Where this is not a full wall, and generally you say, hey, Beo, don't you want a full wall, right? You want to make sure that nothing gets in, but in this case, actually, I like the fact that this is not a full wall, because what this means is the army of Frogs, it files through this rather small choke that tanks can just kind of drop shells on and just absolutely annihilate here. So now the Banshees are going to say, oh, hey, there's more stuff. I would like to see them target down the high value units, not say just Lings. But okay, the wall will be burst, and Zerglings are going to get on top of everything. But again, the tanks are here. This is just a meat grinder with the bunker, with the Marines. Sure, one tank will die, but the 2 Banshees are around. If that repair is going to get off, it will get off in time. More and more tanks going in. And yeah, this is just a continued all-in that is just not going to get what it needs, unfortunately. All right, so now the Banshees, they say, hey, you know what? The all-in has been held. I think you're droning behind this. Regardless, I think I got a full wall. I have 2 tanks. I have a bunker. I'm not worried. I don't need these Banshees for the defensive anymore. Now this is the time to just kill all of your workers. And he's going to be a little bit dismayed to find out that, well, there's only 1 worker in the third. There's that. Can't really get a whole lot done, but it's 57 workers to 32. Stim halfway. There's going to be this incredibly powerful timing now where Stim and 1-1 will all be completing at roughly the same time. And this bio-tank army that's going to come out is just going to do just incredible damage. Now, the tank, yeah, okay, actually this tank can move out a little bit further, defend the third base just a little bit better. And I mean, I liked the idea of this attack, but it was just scouted so far in advance. It was scouted so far in advance that Aleph, he had all the time in the world to prepare for it. To get his Banshees, to get his tanks, to get his bunker. And but when that happens, unfortunately, he's not really going to get to do a whole lot. Now, this Marine's doing God's work here. Chases all of the Overlords from the map, and that's a more aggressive Marine than I have ever seen. You're surprised the 2 roaches don't go deal with it, but they have more important duties, I guess. The Banshees, they're just going to keep sharking around. There is now a spore, of course, in every base. They're really not going to be able to get a whole lot, but they can just kind of sit on this extractor area, kill things like that. But now it's time for Aleph not to move across the map. And you know what? I don't want to call games over before they're over, but I would not be surprised to see Aleph not, or to see Frog just kind of GG out here. The Marines, the tanks, they're going to stim in. It is 1-1 versus 0-0. Stim versus no stim. Tanks in a great siege position. The third base will just go down just like that. Oh, there we go. Now, a couple of Marines are misrallied, and that is unfortunate, but now we're going to have tanks go back up once again. Now, the Spire is done. Yeah, these Marines actually, they want to target this Ravager shooting down, but they will not do so. And, okay, to be honest, I don't know why Aleph is not just ending the game, but, you know, as Day 9 said, went ahead, get more ahead, and he is certainly pretty doggone ahead here. 80 SCVs to the 50 workers, up double the army supply, better tech, 1-1 versus 0-0, tons of tanks, Widow Mines, combat shields now on the way. And sure, there's this Roach army, this Ravager army. We'll be able to cancel the 4th command center, but honestly, not that big of a deal. It's 3 bases versus 2. Oh, this is I didn't notice this. So this is pretty cool. You see this this flanking position with the accelerator zone through a choke. So that's actually pretty cool. It allows you to maybe make it a little bit more dynamic of a surround than you would normally. But now we have the Ravagers. They're going to go and just trying to trade. They won't even get these supply depots. And to be honest, once 2-2's done, or even now, this army is so much better than our than this small Roach Ravager force. Hey, said that we have four Nidus, or we have not 4 Nidus. We have 1 Nidus. We have a bunch of Swarm Host on the way here, and that's actually. And now Infestor. I think the Infestor was a mistake. I think he meant to get some more Swarm Host. And we're gonna see some Nidus Swarm Host play here against Bio, though. I don't. Don't really know how I feel about that. I mean, I guess Frogsy's got to try something weird. But now we have the Nidus going down in the back of the main base. This is well within vision of just about everything, but Aleph not for the moment. He's not really reacting to it, has not noticed. And, okay, so now there's a drop in the main base, and sure, the Nidus is going to do stuff. Absolutely. I mean, that's not a question. It's going to go up now, but there's nothing in it. Because, well, Aleph he has to defend, or Frogs has to defend at home. These Swarm Hosts, they're going to go on into this Nidus, and this Nidus has been out there for so long. The entire army of Frogs now trying to get on into the main base, Swarm Hosts as well, but the trick is, of course, is the army of Aleph the army of Frogs is just not good. So now with the Swarm Hosts, they're going to go land, and sure, they do more DPS, they do more DPS than anything, but they're just going to melt. And, well, this is not going to work. 4 workers went down. Okay, now the rest of the Locusts are going to go down. Yeah, they're going to be able to target down. What, they got an add-on? I think that's all they got. Yeah, they got an add-on. Now, Aleph not here, doubling his opponent. Doubling the supply of his opponent. Well, man, he's tripling the army supply. And Frogs. Ooh, no, it looks like he wasted some locust, some swarms on the, well, on a position he really didn't want to be in. But now we have this double drop in the main base. It's 2-2 versus +1. And, well, Roaches, they're not all that great. They're good early. You can do a lot, but there we have it. GG. And Aleph, he's going to take it for his team. 3-1. Shopify taking the victory. And there we have it. Shopify going up 3-1 this week, situating themselves situating themselves here at the top of the table. 3-0 in challenger. It's going to make it rather difficult from them for now to not get a spot in the playoffs, because of course it's only the, I want to say the top 8 that qualify for playoffs out of challenger. I'll have to take a look about that. But anyway, these matchups do have playoff implications, as both Facebook and Shopify were sitting here at 2-0. Facebook's going to drop to 2-1. Shopify going up to 3-0. So we're going to go to we're going to go for a break. And when we come back, we're going to have an interview with the captains of both teams. And then we're going to go to a real break. And then we're going to go to the collegiate match. So, without further ado, we will be right back. Don't go anywhere. All right. So, congratulations. You took the series 3-1. You were not kidding about being a little bit more competitive as you move on into matches that matter. So, congratulations, Aleph. You're 3-0 in the Challenger series. Yeah, it was interesting. Zero all week has been touting how how big this Zero front step match is. He's been all in the CEA Discord, doing all that, and well, it kind of ended up being a little bit one-sided. Is this Zero pulling the wool over our eyes just a little bit, or is this something? Fair enough. So we've talked to you before. Back in the Swiss bracket, you were talking about how, yeah, we'd want to give our players to get a chance to get in, and we're going to get more competitive as Challenger progresses. And as I just mentioned, well, you're 3-0 in Challenger. You get a good chance of getting a decently high seed, very high seed, as we move on into the playoff set. You're in a 7 seed. Okay. Yeah. Hey, you've done the math and I haven't, so that makes life rather useful. So again, we talked about this. You said, "Oh yeah, we're not doing a whole lot." Has your preparation style changed as you moved on here, or is it just more of a fact of playing different players, or has anything changed on that front? Yeah. Fair enough. And again, it seems to be working. So, as we move forward, you're mathematically guaranteed a number 7 seed. Is there anyone that even in challengers, as the weeks progress there, or as we move on to the playoffs, are there any teams you're particularly worried about, or is this or you say, look, we got Zero, we got Alifnot, we got you, we got everyone else. There's no one that we're afraid of here. We're just going to go clean sweep on the way through. Yeah, absolutely. I'm being told that there's no volume on you. That is. Oh, you know what? It's Discord. No, it's on my end. So I had to reformat my computer as of Wednesday. So my output device is not going to the right thing. So now we're fixed. Okay. Yeah, that is. Oh, man, I thought I had everything fixed, but apparently not. We're gonna start this all over again. Congratulations. You're now 3-0. As you mentioned, and no one saw. You're mathematically, or as ever, unless someone read your lips, as you mentioned, but
which is possible.
Always possible. You're 3-0, but that because of tiebreaker points, you're guaranteed a top 7, or you're guaranteed a 7 seed as we move on into playoffs. And we talked about this a little bit. Who, if there's anyone, there are, of course, those six teams that are ahead of you. They absolutely can do something. Anyone who are you afraid of, if anyone, as you're kind of trying to pick up steam here?
Yeah, as I said before, I think Apple and Alexa are both very strong, and we don't sleep on anyone who's ranking highly. Like, they're all really good teams. I mean, we even there's a reasonable chance Facebook could have beat us. So I think there's a lot of strong teams in CEA. Nothing's guaranteed. We have to work hard and play well and prep good builds to win. But yeah, definitely. Another thing I mentioned before that I'll say again is Apple has a giant Smurf who is like 5.7K. He's quite good. So there's always the risk that he just snipes Zero twice, and that's a quick loss.
Yeah,
Gotta be ready
absolutely.
for him.
And on top of that, kind of or I guess should say going off of this. Well, you went and you had as your preparation changed as you go on here, as you do get to be a little bit more competitive. You are 3-0. You have been finding that success, and as we have found out, based off of how things have gone previously, your matchup that we cast you last time, UCSD as well. Having one ringer does not a weak win make.
Yeah.
So,
We can't just like Zero can't carry us. That's just not how the format is designed. It's very carefully designed so that you need to have your whole team play well. But we have strategies for how the rest of the team is going to get some wins against those top teams. So Zero won't have to do all the work himself. Don't worry.
absolutely.
But yeah, as for how the preparation has changed, it's mostly one thing that changed is we just put in like higher rated players. As we get closer to playoffs, we usually start playing closer to our best lineup, as opposed to like trying to get everyone an equal amount of play time like we do earlier in the season. And then for me specifically, I just like actually play my ladder builds. Like that game I just played against Frugs. I don't know how to pronounce his name, but I play like exactly the way I would play on ladder, just very standard. Whereas like in some of the previous seasons, I think one on stream as well, or previous games, including the one I last played on stream, I would just be like, I saw Maru do nukes in GSL. I want to do nukes, and then like lose. So I'm not doing any more of that. We're gonna try hard and win.
Yeah, I think we've all been there. So any shot? Well, actually, yeah. I think last time I was talking to you, you had some pretty cool stuff to say about the charity that you all support. And that
Yeah.
it's a really high impact rating. But one thing
I'm glad you remember that. That's awesome.
Yeah. The one thing you sent me, and I got busy, never really looked into it, but
That's okay. I forgive you.
The charity effectiveness rating, that was kind of a pretty cool idea. I was wondering if you could talk about that just a little. It seems like they do some really cool work.
Yeah, totally. I'll give you a quick summary. So these organizations that I'm a big fan of, what they basically do is they try to measure in an objective, data-driven way how much good each charity is doing per dollar donated. And the way that is typically measured, and this isn't the only way, but this is the most easy to understand way, is they measure quality adjusted life years saved per dollar. So maybe like this charity, it costs them $200 to do a thing, and that thing saves this person 20 years of their life. They'll live 20 years longer because of this intervention. And the quality of those 20 years is really high because like we removed this disease that was ruining their life. So then you can mathematically compute like how much are they doing that per year versus how many dollars are being donated to them. And then you can come up with like QALYs saved per dollar donated. And certain charities get really, really good metrics. Like certain interventions are really, really cheap, like malaria nets to prevent kids from getting malaria, or injections so that kids who have intestinal worms eating their nutrients don't have that anymore. And those things cost like pennies, but they make tons of people's lives better. So those are really efficient charities, whereas other charities are like really, really inefficient. So having this sort of metric lets you really determine how to do as much good as possible, which is something that I care a lot about, and I hope lots of other people do too.
Oh, absolutely. So and again, that's really cool that we're able to have such a data-driven approach to things. So as we finish this this interview up just a little, any shout-outs you want to give? Anyone that really was key to your preparation, whatever the case may be? Any shout-outs before we head on out of here?
Shout outs to my boy Edenel for helping me warm up TVZ today. Might have lost that game if I didn't manage to scout the Roach Warren, so I'm glad I played versus him this morning. And like shout outs to Front Stab. Hope that he gets revenge on Zero sometime.
Yeah. I'm
not
excited to see the
this
rematch
season,
of that
we're
one.
gonna win, but sometime. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, I was kind of sad. If I had lost, then we would have gotten to see an ace match, and that could have been really exciting. But I won, so.
Really, the throw order did not come in properly
No.
from your own captain, which is you. And well, thank you so much, Alifnat, for showing up once again. Congratulations, guaranteed a number 7 seed in the playoffs when they do happen. And with that, we're going to go to another quick break. And when we're back, we're going to have the captain of Facebook coming on. And so stick around for that. We'll be right back.
Thanks.
All right, we're back. We have our other captain with us, the captain of Facebook, Arcane himself. Welcome. And we know this week didn't exactly work out the best for you, or didn't work out the way you were hoping for. You didn't really have that locked in number 7 seed that you may be hoping for, but that was a great matchup. Even if it did end up 3-1, the games were close, and we saw probably one of the cooler iterations of that Void Ray build that I have ever seen in game number 3. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know if you were in the cast at the moment. I was just freaking out about that. It was probably one of the cooler things I'd ever seen. Was that a specific preparation build to deal with his opponent, or was that just a, hey, we think this is a cool build, I found it, I'm gonna prepare hard for it, but it's not exactly a snipe build? Fair enough. Well, it was a really cool build regardless. And again, I was freaking out as I was seeing it happen. So you're now 2-1. You're still in an excellent position here in the challenger stage. You're almost guaranteed to make playoffs. You may actually be guaranteed to make playoffs. I believe it's top 8 that do. But again, I haven't done the math. Sorry, top 8 or top 8 of top 10 of the challenger stage, and it's of the challenger bracket, because there are of course 6 teams in the placement bracket. So yeah, I think you're almost guaranteed. Yeah. So as you move on, what's your team's goal for the season? Is it you're just gonna see how far you can go, or is it a, man, we're gonna hard charge, we're gonna get top 2, top 4, top 1? Where does Facebook see themselves at the end of the season? Frontstab, who was, of course, incredibly hyped up throughout this entire week. Unfortunately, the game did not kind of live up to hype as much, but that really felt more like a build order issue than really anything else. Is when you go 5 racks and your opponent doesn't take a third until 10 minutes into the game, it's not a lot of opportunities for you to do much.
Cool. Zero played really cool defensive game from here, which shows his level, let's say. But I enjoyed this game a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. So if I was wondering if you could talk just a little bit about your about your preparation as we go on in here. You heard Shopify talking about, oh yeah, we don't really prepare all that much, we just put our good players in. What does a week in what does a day or what does a week in the preparation setup for Team Facebook look like?
Oof. I guess it's kind of similar. So it depends on who is playing. So some people prepare more, some people less. For example, Pluto specifically practiced this build with front stab, and he wanted this build to be as refined as he can, because it's not a standard build by any means. You don't normally play this kind of stuff on ladder. So I'm not sure about front step. I think front step plays against Zero as a clanmates, so not sure how much he could actually prepare if they regularly play anyway.
We saw a lot of things in those games where it very much felt like it was a mind game. It was some player that knew something. I mean, we saw two Marines to drop. It was just very mind gaming. Very clear that these were players that practiced against each other a decent amount, which was pretty cool to see. To be totally honest. Now, go ahead.
Two Marine drops were kind of funny to see because they both did it, and it's like full mind games. It's clear they know what they're playing against, and they know like what to expect.
Absolutely. And as well, as apparently I didn't have your audio turned on for the first half of this interview. I thought I had it fixed, but apparently not. I just cannot catch a break today. You guys are 2-1. I'm just gonna ask the question again. Where do you see yourselves at the end of this season? Is it top 4, top 2? Do you see yourself winning the entire thing? And what? That being said, do you have any other teams? I mean, you narrowly lost to Shopify. Are there any other teams that you're quaking in your boots at? You say, we got it all. We almost got Zero. We almost got Shopify. We're smooth sailing from here.
So we will try to win the whole thing, of course, thanks to our ace player front stab. Obviously, there are a lot of other strong teams, and we are kind of afraid of Amazon teams, and they have interesting players like White Google A teams seems to be really strong. A bunch of others as well, like Apple, a team that has been mentioned by Shopify earlier. Yeah, but I think we have a shot at winning matches against them. We'll just have to practice harder.
Absolutely. Now, So I was wondering if you could talk about your charity just a little bit. Who do you support, and if you could tell me a little bit about them.
We support Doctors Without Borders, and I think it's really important during the pandemic time, especially.
Oh, absolutely, and they do some great work too. So that's absolutely a great team to be fighting for as you look to make your push towards the championship. Now, I guess as we get ready to close things up, do you have any shout outs you want to give? Anyone particularly really carried through for preparation, whatever the case may be? Any shout outs before we close this interview out?
I would get a shout out for Pluto, who prepared a really cool and non-standard build which was really exciting to see. Yeah.
All right. So, best of luck as you continue on into the playoffs. Great games today. Again, that Pluto build was so cool. I still can't get over how cool that build was. And with that, thank you so much for joining us.
Yeah, thank you. GG's.
GG's. All right. So with that puts an end to our Corporate Esports Association week number 8. It's been Facebook, it's been Shopify. Shopify really cementing themselves as the top team in this challenger bracket, guaranteeing themselves a number 7 seed as they move on into the playoffs. The all important, playoffs are really all that matters. As you go on, as long as you're there, you got a shot. Facebook Zuckerzergs, they're going to find themselves in there as well, but more like an 8 seed most likely, as we have to see how things do go from here. So with that, we're going to go, the stream will go down for a minute, so I have to fix some things, and then we're going to go back live, I think probably sometime before that, but we're going to be live for real at 4 p.m. Eastern time with the Corporate Esports Association's collegiate division. It's going to be UC Davis versus... And you think I had this memorized. Because I forget. Yeah, UC Davis versus RIT for the top two teams in the collegiate division smashing together, or the collegiate challenger division smashing heads, trying to make sure that they find themselves in a similar position to what Shopify is in as we move on to get ready to go into the playoffs here. So without further ado, I have been BeoMulf. If you like what I do, even with the audio issues that plagued me today, you can follow me at twitter.com/BeoMulf_SC2. I always tweet where and when I am going live. But other than that, we will be back in half an hour.